13 Reasons Why is a teen drama with the peripheral story developments reminiscent of How to Get Away with Murder, and a premise not unlike that of a little-known movie called To Save a Life. In the beginning of the series, main character Clay Jensen comes home to find a box of tapes forwarded by his recently deceased classmate and former love interest Hannah Baker, stating the reasons why she ended her life. For the rest of the first episode, she explains how high school jock Justin Foley influenced her decision, and in like manner, she names someone new every episode thereafter and the part that they play. From the get-go, we're sold the idea that everybody on the tapes does something horrible to Hannah in order to earn their place on the tapes, and thus are led to believe that our hero Clay must have also played a villainous part in the story of her life. We later find out though that this is not at all the case, which is both incredibly anticlimactic and disappointing, but also kind of a relief that not everybody in her life was a complete douchebag. I mean, I would have hated to hate Clay after the show did such a good job at making me fall in love with the character. But let me hammer this point a little bit more. The truth is they completely mislead us with regards to Clay, and there's no way to justify it. There are several scenes where characters call out Clay on not being so innocent himself, when in the end, not even Hannah blames him for anything.
Your name does not belong on this list.
It was a complete bait and switch, which, if you're not already overwhelmed with emotion by this point, will leave you feeling kind of cheated. The character development in the story isn't great, but it's believable, which I guess makes it pretty good. The characters themselves weren't bad either for the most part. Initially, Justin's character as the jock, with his persona and family problems, comes off as a bit cliche, but you grow to appreciate how well they explored his story with depth often missed by other tales following the same narrative. In the same breath though, a lot of the characters were kinda forgettable. And it's not even because of bad acting, which there was surprisingly little of. In fact, this guy's going to have to play 50 good guys for me to not be reminded of what he did to Catherine Langford every time I see him, which actually means he did a pretty good job. What I hated about the show was its painstakingly slow pace, and how it often felt like they were stringing us along for the ride, with no hope of a satisfying payoff, especially during the first few episodes. Anytime Clay would ask a legitimate question that the audience would be thinking, it gets an annoying, just listen to the rest of the tapes, Clay, which really felt like the director saying, just watch the next episode, dude. Also, the show sets itself up as a mystery, but really, it's a drama that takes a while to unfold. That's it. There aren't any huge revelations in the end, no surprises, no aha moments, just this happened, then this happened, and then this happened. So if you're sincerely hoping for a good mystery, you'll be sorely disappointed. There's nothing mysterious about Hannah's death. Again, I'll go back to how slow it was. Each episode is dedicated to one character. That means you have to care about 13 different characters in a short space of time, and that's just unnatural. In fact, I skipped a few episodes and fast forwarded to Clay's parts and didn't even feel like I missed much, which I take to mean I didn't actually miss much because the last time I did something like that, I regretted it and went back. So ultimately, the show doesn't do much to make you care about any other characters except for the main ones, which means the ones you don't care about don't really matter to the story, or they feel like a waste of time, regardless of how good their character is. What I loved about the show was how it tackles important topics in a candid and unapologetic way that pays homage to real situations without watering them down. They also don't get too preachy with the show by shoving their opinions down your throat. Instead, they lay the narrative out for you and let you decide what to make of it. With regards to the topics they cover, specifically sexual assault, I was pleasantly surprised to find men not being vilified as a whole, which can often become the case, nor having the good guys support specific agendas to explain why they're so different from their more misogynistic peers. Instead, you have a more authentic show of views and opinions where we delve a bit into the mind of a rapist, conversing with another guy who clearly disagrees with them on an issue men aren't typically awarded a platform to speak on, and personally I was really happy about that. I was also really happy with the ending. There were no real victories. Hannah dies, and no matter what Clay does, nothing can bring her back, or make her death any more bearable, and that's an honest reflection of life. I have many issues with the storytelling techniques and gimmicks they use to keep us watching, but I have no qualms with the story itself. Hannah Baker felt like a real person to me, and if you're willing to forgive some of the show's wrongs, you'll come to appreciate the journey she takes you on.